Hello and welcome back to Binghamton University's housing sign-up process for new students. Here in Part 3, we'll be taking you through room selection. If you haven't checked out Part 1, which covers our housing application, and Part 2, picking a roommate, be sure to have a look at those before you begin. You'll definitely want to check out reslife.binghamton.edu to familiarize yourself with the 5 traditional residence hall communities on campus. If you're a transfer student, you'll also be able to choose between buildings in our 2 on-campus apartment communities. Be sure to give those a look as well. The housing instructions on our website will also let you know when you can expect to receive your housing selection time slot in your Binghamton University email. This is your reservation time to go back into the housing portal to reserve your room. During housing sign-up, you'll find a link on the housing portal on the Residential Life homepage at reslife.binghamton.edu. Click to log in using your Binghamton University username and password. Start off by clicking Housing Application and then Continue on the academic year. You'll typically begin at your application status. Look at the top of the page and you'll see your room selection time slot if it's been assigned. This will show your time to begin your room selection process. This is also a good time to click on Roommate Matching to be sure that your roommate group is there and verified. I can see I have mutually accepted Lee Jordan as my roommate for this term, and that I'm the group leader, which means that I'm responsible for selecting our housing. If your roommate has a better time slot than you might want to consider having them choose housing for the both of you. You can do that by making your roommate the group leader with the Make Leader button. Make sure you communicate this to your roommate, or you may find that nobody assigned you up. Since my time slot is currently underway, I'm going to click on Room Selection, or Save and Continue on the bottom of the Application Status page to begin. First up is your community selection. New students will see 5 residential communities. Transfer students will also see the apartment communities, Hillside and Susquehanna. Graduate students will need to choose Hillside Community. You'll only see rooms that match your gender. If you're gender inclusive, you'll only see gender inclusive rooms. We're going to start off by choosing Hinman College and clicking Select Community. Initially, you'll see all the spaces in the community displayed, 20 at a time, but we can narrow the list. Since I have a roommate I'd like to live with, I can set the room type filter to show only double rooms. Remember that each time you check off a box in the list filters, your options will become fewer. If nothing is displayed, uncheck some of your filters or start over. Remember, you can only house yourself and a maximum of 2 roommates in this process, so all suites in Hinman, College in the Woods and Mountain View, Flats in Dickinson, and campus apartments are broken out into their bedrooms. You cannot request an entire suite, flat, or apartment during this process. Let's go down to the building list and find Hughes Hall. Checking off buildings on this list will show only the rooms in the selected buildings. Note that this list can be a little confusing as it's alphabetical by building, not community. You can use the community guide at the top of the page to remember which buildings are in which community. Hughes Hall is an all-suites residence hall, so here we have a list of available bedrooms. If we look at the card for each bedroom, we can see that Hughes O10B and O10C are part of Suite Hughes O10. Looking at the number beside the bed symbol, we can see that Hughes O10B has 2 beds, but we want to make sure they're available. Click Show Room Info to see the occupancy details for the room. Since Hughes O10 is a suite, we can actually see the occupancy information for the entire suite. Notice that Hughes O10A is fully occupied and that O10B and O10C have only 1 vacant bed each. You can click on the View Profile button to see roommate profiles of the existing occupants. Note that returning students may not have detailed profiles available. So Hughes O10 isn't going to work for us since we have a roommate and need a room with 2 vacant beds. Okay, so let's have a look at Oneida and College in the Woods. Oneida is a mix of suites and double rooms. This is a typical way that regular double rooms that are on corridor appear in College in the Woods with a floor designation, where we saw the suite displayed in Hughes Hall. And because College in the Woods is a mix of suites and corridor style, you'll also notice 1 bedroom from Suite Oneida 5V mixed in. Notice that Oneida has some chem-free spaces that I can access because both my roommate and I agreed to chem-free housing back on the Living Options page in the portal. Okay, I'm not really finding what I want here, so I'm going to go back to Hughes. I'd really like to get a room in that building. We're going to choose room 125A and check out the room info, which shows it's one of 3 vacant double rooms in the suite. Perfect. I'm going to go back and click Hold Room on 125A. I now have 5 minutes to assign my roommate and myself to the beds in the room. Since we're just dealing with the double room, it doesn't really matter which bed I pick, since bed 1 and bed 2 don't really correspond to a particular side of the room. Lee and I will figure out which side of the room we're going to be on when we arrive this fall. I'll put myself into bed 1, Lee into bed 2, and click Assign Beds. Now, here's the important bit. This is one last look at what you've chosen, but you're not through yet. Notice that the timer is still going. Review your choice carefully because once you click Confirm and book this room, no changes are permitted. But I'm happy with this room that I've chosen for Lee and myself, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to hit the button. This takes us back to our application status, which now is a booking section at the bottom. I can confirm where Lee and I are housed, and as I check back later, I can even watch my future suite mates fill out the other 4 beds in the suite. And that's really all there is to selecting your room. Be sure to log out the top right of the page when you're done, and thanks for watching. We can't wait to see you here at Binghamton University.